Welcome all of you. My name is Dr. Mohammad Fiaz from University of Education, DG Khan campus. And today we will discuss integrated pest management, which is oftenly called IPM. IPM is a sustainable approach to manage pests by combining all available pest control techniques such as biological, chemical, cultural, physical tools, and appropriate measures to discourage the development of pest populations and keep pesticides and other interventions to levels and minimize risks to human health and the environment. A well-defined integrated pest management is a program that should be based on prevention, monitoring, and control, which offers the opportunity to eliminate or drastically reduce the use of pesticides and to minimize the toxicity of products which are used. The most effective long-term way to manage pests is by using a combination of methods that work better together than separately. IPM does this by utilizing a variety of methods and techniques, including cultural, biological, physical, mechanical, and chemical control programs. As previously you have studied all of the available programs in detail, now let's revise the general idea of those control programs and how they contribute in integrated pest management. The first of all is cultural control. Cultural controls are practices that reduce pest establishment, reproduction, dispersal, and survival. This program is aimed either at reducing the sources of inoculum or at reducing exposure of plants to infection. Its primary objective is the prevention of pest damage and not the destruction of an existing and damaging pest population. Since these control tactics usually modify the relationships between a pest population and its natural environment, they are also known as ecological control methods. These practices, which are implemented in the cultural control, are good soil preparation, use of indigenous varieties, use of mesh screen, roguing and pruning, encouraging insect predators, multiple cropping, and crop rotation. The next is biological control. Biological control is the use of natural enemies, which are predator, parasites, pathogens, and competitors, to control the pests and their damage. Invertebrates, plant pathogens, nematodes, weeds, and vertebrates have many natural enemies, which are then released in the field to suppress the population of harmful insects. The next is physical and mechanical control. It is the management and control of pests using physical means such as fences, barriers, electronic wires. It includes also weeding and change of temperature to control the pest. Mechanical and physical controls kill a pest directly, block pests out, or make the environment suitable for it. If all other integrated pest management tactics are unable to keep an insect population below an economic threshold, then use of an insecticide to control the pest and prevent economic loss is justified. Chemical control is the use of pesticides. In IPM, pesticides are used only when needed and in combination with other approaches for more effective long-term control. Pesticides are selected and applied in a way that minimizes their possible harm to the pupil, non-target organisms, and the other environment. With IPM, you will use the most selective pesticide that will do the job and be the safest for other organisms and for air, soil, and water quality as well. Use pesticides in bait stations rather than sprays or spot sprays a few weeds instead of an entire area. So IPM is the decision making process to reduce pest status in a planned, systematic way by keeping their numbers below economically acceptable levels. Integrated pest management or IPM is a process you can use to solve pest problems while minimizing risk to people and the environment. IPM can be used to manage all kinds of pests anywhere in urban, agriculture, and wildland and natural areas. With IPM, the role for chemical pesticides is one of the least resort if other alternatives fail to correct the problem. Pesticides are not applied according to the preset schedule. They only are used if close inspection shows that they are needed to prevent severe damage. Pests can develop resistance to any type of control, as you know. In practice, resistance occurs most frequently in response to pesticide use. Naturally occurring predators, parasites, pathogens, antagonists, and competitors help keep many pest populations in check. The next question arises here, that why we need integrated pest management and why we are emphasizing on IPM. The answer is simply straightforward: to control the pest, which is definitely and ultimately goal. Also, utilization of those sustainable practices which has no negative impact on the environment. The goal of integrated pest management is not to eliminate all pests. Some pests are tolerable and essential so that their natural enemies remain in the crop. Rather, the aim is to reduce pest population to less than damaging numbers. Applying multiple control tactics minimizes the chance that insects will adapt to any one tactic. Those tactics must be comprised from those elements which has no negative impact on the environment. And the most reliable method, like chemical control, should be adopted until unless other methods are failed to perform, with the consideration that those less harmful insecticides should be chosen which has no or less impact on the environment. So integrated pest management has six. So now we will discuss the advantages of integrated pest management. Integrated pest management is an ecologically friendly method to increase crop production and lower the damages sustained by the pests. This is achieved by means of various management methods, which includes the use of chemical pesticides. IPM focuses on the long-term application of ecologically friendly biological methods such as natural predators, resistant plant strains, sterile male techniques, and so on. The main reason that the FO has started implementing the IPM in several regions was largely due to hazardous impact of the certain chemicals contained in the commercial pesticides. Some studies show that the use of DDT in Africa to control malaria has given some adverse side effects such as breast cancer, diabetes, spontaneous abortions, decreased other health, and impaired child neurodevelopment. Thus, IPM aims to slowly reduce the use of pesticides via biological control methods. First of all, we will discuss the advantages of IPM. Pests can develop a resistance to pesticides over time. When the applications of the chemicals are used repeatedly, the pest can develop a resistance to the pesticides by natural selection, where the pests that survive the application of the chemicals will pass on their genes to their offsprings. This leads to the creation of superpests. IPM reduces the risk of this occurring as the method adopted by the IPM are all natural. The use of pesticides may eradicate the pest population. However, there is risk that non-target organisms are also affected, which can result in species loss. IPM can eradicate pests while maintaining the balance of the ecosystem. The reduced usage of pesticides is more cost effective in the long term, as IPM control pests when there are surges, as opposed to the regularly time application of the pesticides. Now we will discuss disadvantages of integrated pest management. Individual farmers and all those involved in IPM have to be educated about their options in the various methods available, which often take time. The application of IPM takes time and has to be closely monitored, as the practice of IPM has many different methods. integrated all of them in order to provide the most effective pest control method. Different pests have different control methods, and it is necessary to monitor which methods are the best specific for specific pests. So this was all about today's lecture. See you in the next one.